It's the Memphis Sports Network, WMC Memphis, WMFS HD2 Bartlett Memphis, WMFS FM and HD1 Bartlett, WMFS Memphis, ESPN 790 AM and 92.9 FM ESPN.
Watch the sunrise, new day's dawning, and it's calling you and me, where the mighty Mississippi flows by Memphis, Tennessee. We've got woodlands, fields, and water. Hey, there is no better way. You can find out all about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Make some time, take the family, ask a friend, but don't delay. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Good Saturday morning and welcome to another edition of the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services. Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
And welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on this second official day of autumn, here the 23rd of September. You know, of course, today is the archery opener here in Tennessee, so a little warm out there. You know, it's been for the past few days. I don't know if this is officially Indian summer or not, but I don't think, we had that little cool spell, last week, and we kind of got used to it, and now we're kind of warming back up. So got John Gordon with me here in the studio with Avery.
Morning,
and and we're going to talk. We've been talking everything this morning. We've talked ducks and we've talked fish, and I guess with our next guest, we're going to talk ducks and fish. He's a multi-talented person, and by the intro music, y'all all know who we're going to talk to. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, Dave, how you doing today?
Doing good. Got Steve McCadams here. Good buddy up around Paris, Tennessee. Of course, Steve, he's made his life out there on the water, plus picks up a few cents every now and then writing a story or two about his adventures. Kind of like the old saying, give or take a lie, too. But now I got Steve McCadams up out of Paris Landing, a long-time hunting and fishing guide up there. So I guess we'll talk fishing first. How's your late season crappie fishing been?
Dave, fall is always pretty good for us up here. It's underrated and overlooked, in my opinion. So I always preach fall fishing because I love the stability of the season and the transition time. And we're all sitting around here now. I wish we could get that cool weather back that we had early in September. For about 2 weeks, we got spoiled and put a long sleeve shirt on for a little while, and now it's got back hot and humid. Our surface temperatures this week have jumped back to 79 to 80 degree range. We were 73 about a week ago at this time. So we'd like to see it cool off, but fishing's been pretty good. We're catching a lot of crappie in that 7 to 10 foot range, and once it got hot this week, they backed off. Now, I had to fish 16 to 20 feet the last few days, but it's that time of year. Those fish will react to cool weather, and they'll go deep when it gets hot. Those lake levels are falling. They'll come back shallow when it gets cloudy and cool. So you can't get very complacent, unfortunately. About the time I think I've got them hemmed up, they do something different on me. But we're having a pretty good fall so far. Can't complain.
Well, good. And, of course, when the fish you talk about they're moving shallow and moving it. So, primarily what you're looking for them out there, close to the drop-offs where they could kind of move with ease?
Yeah, I think they like to get close to deep water, even though they might not be in real deep water. They like a little comfort zone where they got the best of both worlds kind of close by. And some of the stake beds and brush piles that I'm fishing might only be 12 or 14 feet at the time, but they might have 25 or 30-foot depth right adjacent to them. So they can run up on the top side of a ledge and feed when shad activity is there, and then they can go back, park deeper when it's not. When you get these bright, sunny days, those fish are light sensitive too, so they'll kind of slow down and back off a little bit deeper and kind of getting away from that bright sunlight. Whereas if you got a cloudy, rainy day, they'll move up shallow on you. So they'll really follow those bait fish, depending on what the shad are doing. But if you've got a drop off, that's the best of both worlds for sure.
And
hey, Steve, Ron here. How about
Yes,
for
sir.
the bass fishermen? Are the bass biting pretty good?
A lot of the bass fishermen in the last few days or this week, they've had to come back to deep drop-offs. I've been watching a lot of guys fishing a summer pattern, and they're back trailing crankbaits and throwing a big Texas rig worm. Or many of them are throwing rattle trap style baits too and trying to cover a lot of water. But they've had to pull back to some main lake ledges. And a couple of weeks ago, the shallow water bite had improved. Some were throwing top water. But it seemed like the fish got kind of sluggish, and the boats I've seen in the last few days, most of the guys are really out there trying to cover a lot of water with a rattle trap or something like that, and find some fish on the main lake. So yeah, we're still having a pretty good bass bite. Some of the stringers on the tournaments are still in the 18 to 20 pound plus range, but I think the number of fish is off a little bit lately.
And what's the lake level out there now? I know historically,
this week
powers to be, once you get over after Labor Day, they start pulling the water down.
Right, it's almost winter pool now. Just in these last few days, we're down to around 355. So we're within a few inches of winter pool. Up at New Johnsonville, it's even lower than it is around our area. So TVA's been putting it slowly this week, and it's that time of the year when people have to be real careful up here too. If you don't pay attention to those channel markers, you can get into trouble real quick taking those shortcuts. And I see a lot of boaters do that. They just don't realize how shallow those bars can be out in the main lake this time of year.
Right, especially up there in that, what the overlake, as I call it. You're outside of that main channel, and the channels, it just look like you got acres and acres and acres of water you can just run all day in. But
you'll get in trouble up here real quick. You'll
right.
get a lower unit or bust a hull before you can blink an eye. So
and, well, let's shift gears.
Better pay attention. Not
only do you chase the fish, but you also chase the waterfowl. We just got concluded last week, our
right.
early wood duck and teal season. So what did you see out on the Kentucky Lake up there?
Yeah, I do. I love waterfowling. I'm sitting here fishing this time of year, but my mind thinks a lot about waterfowling because I love duck hunting. But our wood duck and teal season was off this year. We were below average, even though we had some cool weather in early September, and that set the stage for a pretty good migration of teal. We just didn't get it up here. And one of the things I think is affecting us, we've lost a lot of our aquatic vegetation. And Ron's a bass fisherman. He knows how important the grass has been up here over the years for the bass fishermen. But it affects the waterfowlers too. And we've lost all our aquatic. And when you do that, those ducks don't have much to feed on. And they'll come to and keep going, I guess, to somewhere where they can find more feeding opportunities. But that hurt us. And our wood duck hatch up here, I don't think was as good this year either. We saw a few small broods back early, but our season was off this year. You just did not hear as much shooting or as much activity around here. I have some friends that hunted down around Reelfoot that did a little bit better than we did, but we were down considerably up here this time.
And we were just talking about the lake levels, and you're talking about vegetation. Of course, when the water falls out of the bays and the coves and stuff, where a lot of the shallow water where they've got vegetation, that they would use it, that vegetation is just sitting high and dry, more or less.
Yeah. In times past, low water would really expose a lot of Eurasian water milfoil and pineweed and coontail moss and things of that nature. And the ducks just loved that, as did the bass too. But it's not here, and unfortunately, it had an adverse impact on us.
And
I tell you, Steve, what I saw, I was in Texas last week, and from what I saw there, they have a lot of teal, but mostly what is being taken are males, and it's interesting. The blue wings, the males migrate first, followed by the females and the young of the year. So I think a lot of the birds are still north. I really don't think they've moved a tremendous amount. The fronts we had, were they didn't have a lot of punch with them, and I just don't think it moved a bunch of them. And I think some of the, once again, as it always happens, a lot is that you see your best teal migrations after the season's closed. But I think that may be the story of especially in this part of the world, of what's happening.
It could be. I usually keep an eye on the sky. I'm fishing every day on the lake when I'm not hunting, so I'm always watching the river to see if anything's moving and coming up and down it. And usually you see some big bunches of teal at times, but boy, I just hadn't seen it this time. So I don't know. It's kind of surprised me, and it's a mystery to some degree. But teal in this part of the country, we've got such a short window of opportunity anyway. It's kind of hit and miss, but it seems like we've always had a few around enough that guys went out hunting and went through the motions. But this year it seemed to be off. But I guess it's like football. There's always next year.
That's right. That's right, Ron.
And we were talking earlier with Jimbo Robinson of DU, and I was talking about, looking at their fall flight forecast and everything, increase. They had, pretty good increase in their pond, productions up there on the prairie up there in Canada. And what's your prediction about waterfowl season? I know on, our 60-day season, how many days are you out there out of a 60-day season?
Well, as I'm getting older, I'm backing off just a little bit. But in times past, I've hunted 58 out of 60 days a lot of times. Now I'm not doing quite that much. I'm learning that every year the wind's a little stronger, the rain's a little wetter, and the cold's a little colder. But I'm still fighting it pretty hard. I'll probably hunt 50 days out of a 60-day season, 48 to 50 days still. And but you got to be there. You never know what the weather's going to do, and the best time to go hunting is when you can. So it's so unpredictable on cold fronts and things of that nature. But I'm always optimistic at this time of the year when we start getting those fall flight forecasts. You always look at your numbers, and that's always important. Those of us in the biological community, we always respect the forecast. But here in Dixie, we're all driven by weather. If we don't get the weather, we don't get stuff.
That's what we were talking about earlier. You can have just arm up to your neck and ducks up north, and just if we don't get the weather, we don't have them down here. Or then we get the weather and they just kind of bypass us, and everything.
Nice to see the rebound on some pintails, though. I'm glad to see the pintails bouncing back after a few years of lull, so that looks good. Guideball numbers are up too. And both those ducks are pretty important for Tennessee. We kill a lot of guideballs here early in Weegens, and then pintails coming through early as well, and then you get them going back a lot of times. So I'm glad to see those species doing pretty good. And depending on where you hunt, we've got a lot of divers here in the open water on Kentucky Lake, so bluebills and ringneck and things of that nature kind of add to you once in a while. And so I'm glad to see the numbers in pretty good shape. It's nice to know they're there if we get the weather and the water. We just don't need any more warm Decembers like we had last year. I can remember getting up last year during duck season, and there were fishing boats just passing me going up and down the road and out on the lake. Everybody was out fishing and running up and down the lake like it was late fall, and it would be in the 50s and 60s. And so, it was great if you were a winter fisherman, but it was pretty tough on the duck hunters.
And I know most of your clients, you book every year. You got any open dates?
Oh, yeah. I've always got a few scattered dates in there coming and going. So
okay. How
we're eternal optimists. We're always ready.
So if people are listening out there and they think maybe be wanting to take a waterfowl trip up there your way, how could they get in contact with you?
Go to my website at stevemcadams.com. That's the best way. Shoot an email to me that way, and we'll go from there. Okay. Well, we sure appreciate you taking time with us on this Saturday morning. I'm pretty sure you'll probably be out on the lake here in a little bit. Great to be with you guys again. Always good talking ducks and fish, and I've always got time to talk about the feathers and the fish. Okay. Well, you be careful out there today. All right. Steve McCadams. Thank you, fellas. Good to be with you.
out of Parish Land, and I understand there's a big motorcycle rally going up there. They're saying, never can tell. Steve might trade his crappie boat for a Harley Davidson. You never know. But,
I don't
he
think
might.
so.
But,
I don't think so.
okay, well, looks like it's break time again. Greg pointing his finger at us, so come on back, get up, and come on back and join us for our last segment. Hey, this is the fastest hour in 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes on radio. So y'all get up and join us again for the next segment of Outdoors with Larry Ray.
You can find out